peptides and sorry, as people are watching, we were
Yeah.
catching up on stuff.
So yeah, um, apparently, and I don't know if Ethan has a website or like where he puts up some of his if he puts up some of his research, but one of our old guests, Kelly the Honest Smuggler, hit me up this morning and was wondering about um, some of I guess Ethan Russo is working or studying a combination of CBD and peptides. And I'm not 100% clear on what exactly peptides are. I feel like it's more of a delivery system, like a delivery method than it is maybe like a medical type benefit. I don't know. I'm
Here we
really
go.
curious.
I will throw it up on this. We're gonna learn vocabulary words to start the day. Uh, if I can.
Um, but yeah, so it's an interesting thing since we were I think we were kind of blowing Ethan's mind last time we spoke with Kelly, just in the sense that um, Dr. Russo hadn't really heard of the triglyceride CBD combination of delivering CBD to your lymphatic system, helping autoimmune disease. So I'm curious if this was maybe short change of amino acids.
Well, here we go. This looks like it's probably related to diabetes, right? Well-known natural peptides includes insulin and oxytocin.
Yeah. And I know, so my brother-in-law was studying something like this and looking into CBD and one of the types of diabetes. Um, and they actually were growing CBD on yeast. So this is kind of like a delivery method. It's like opening receptors or
Okay, look at this. THC activates CB1 receptors to relieve pain, but it binds with serotonin receptors to cause memory loss and cognitive impairment. that,
I call
that may
bullshit.
explain my terrible memory.
Yeah, I forgot how to peptide solutions, small disrupts this receptor pairing.
Oh,
Let's
that's
CBD
cool.
while keeping the brain clear. Oh, wild. That's kind of nuts. So I guess it does have like more of a medical benefit than more of a delivery system. 'Cause I remember when we were talking to him, um, I think one of the things he was kind of kicked off about with the new rescheduling stuff was how you're going to see a lot more patents on delivery methods. So yeah, it's the most natural for
Roy, can you expand on that? The most neutral or natural, and the most natural, is it feeding peptides, or what's the peptide connection to the? Is it part of the nutrient mix?
well, I wonder if he's talking about a peptide version of CBD being like the most neutral.
I actually find Google's AI incredibly because it doesn't try to find non-truth. Like there was a thing where yesterday came out. Amazon's AI ratted out Amazon for their "Made in the USA" claims of a lot of their stuff. So its own AI, someone asked it questions about Amazon's claims of you know, whatever it's clothes or other things made in the USA, and it's like these are not made. Amazon's claim that whatever.
Oh,
Rusty dropping that
streams of molecular called amino
knowledge.
acids, which are building blocks of proteins. Short proteins are about. Okay. My brain is trying to connect.
So she doesn't produce enzymes.
Okay.
So the feeding tube provides the enzymes as well, I guess. Is
Yeah. Yeah. So if you go back to Rusty's comment, so the peptides, I'm guessing, are different types of amino acids that allow her body to produce certain proteins that allow her liver to absorb specific nutrients. So this is like a metabolitic thing. It's more for opening and closing certain metabolite
pathways or
something. Yeah. Which makes sense when you're talking about using like a feeding tube if there's not a proper functioning like liver and spleen or, you know, digestive system in general. It's just, so is it turns into a nutrient, like a
we need Nick. We need Nick to break the. Should we send an SOS to Nick?
That would be dope. We need a Nick. Dude, we need a Nick translator.
Mark.
I fucking drool when I love his information, but it consumes my whole day trying to put together what he said. It took me a week. We were talking about carbon chains last time with him, and it took me a week to connect all that shit. I love it, but we got to have a Nick translator. But I would be down to bring him on to talk about this because it will give me something to do this week. But yeah, so I guess if peptides, if their final form in our body is proteins, then that means our body is metabolizing them as proteins for energy. So then it becomes like an actual nutrient thing itself. I'm trying to figure out like how this is carried, how CBD and this combined, what it's.
Well, it seems like it doesn't allow it to mess with the memory unless there's an additional benefit he is excited about. Like it.
And I'm wondering if my brain is trying to process it as like plant metabolite instead of human metabolite. like a.
Yeah, I know, like hydrolyzed
protein
stuff with like what do you call it? Fish emulsions and stuff.
Right. Yeah. It's like, I guess it's not just one thing, it's the combination of the two. Like it does boost the way our body is metabolizing the protein and using it, but it's specifically like different types of proteins that our body is using to do all these things.
Look at that. Even though I have a terrible memory.
Hydroxylate is the cold yeah. Oh yeah. Fish hydroxylate for sure. That's kind of where my brain was going to. I was like, the plant version of this is like a fish hydrosylate, like it's their amino acids, but because I know amino acids like feed protein, which, like Rusty said, are the building blocks of life. So the peptides are the precursors to the amino acids that feed the proteins that build cells.
Build things up, right?
Yeah.
Versus break things down.
Yeah. So the peptides are a precursor to that. So binding CBD to that.
Everyone's head. People who know what they're talking about listening to us, their heads are hurting. People who don't know what we're talking about, their heads are hurting.
So we're trying to figure out, all right, so it started off with a guy named Dr. Ethan Russo is working on a study of a combination of CBD and peptides. I am trying to understand exactly what peptides are, and I think we've done that. And now it's trying to understand how peptides and CBD work in our body together. And apparently, like how peptides and THC work together in our body, because Peter pulled up something that said, a THC peptide combination allows for pain neutralization while no longer affecting memory loss or cognitive function, which is really fucking interesting. To be like, you get all the benefits of THC without having to worry about getting a DUI. Like, that is kind of cool in that sense. But then are you no longer high? Do you not get to experience the high? Which now makes me wonder if that's a thing. Are scientists working on a THC delivery system that allows you to consume THC and not get stoned? Basically like an inhibitor. Are they considering peptides as an inhibitor to THC?
For like kids, well, for anyone who doesn't want to get high, but yeah, that would be...
Yeah. Which brings me back to it being used as more of a delivery thing than an actual like beneficial intention. I need to smoke some weed apparently.
Yeah,
my brain's starting to, yeah. That's exactly it. It's just a tool. But yeah, that'd be dope to get Ethan on and kind of see which direction he's looking at it as.
Good morning, sunshine. Or actually, no, sorry,
morning.
It's 7:89. Oh, it's noontime on the East Coast.
It's still
so
morning.
For people watching, I thought I'd be back in LA this morning and coming off a red eye, but I got my one day off, so I'm actually still in Hawaii. At 6 in the morning. We went out to dinner last night and I took a bunch of edibles, and that's the last thing I remember.
Me and David judged a cup last night. Well, part of it. We finished the rest this evening, and that was...
Is that the thing that's happening, next weekend?
Yeah, on the 15th.
Okay.
And it's kind of a small thing. Like, the way Colorado is, any event like that, you have to have like a private invite circle. You can't just like open it up to the public. So it's kind of a pain in the ass getting it rolling. So after it takes like a couple years to get it established, and then like it eventually kind of takes off through word of mouth, and then you can start like inviting people and doing the ticket sale. I don't know. Takes a little bit, but as far as like what we judged last night, like I am actually surprised at what I've seen that I didn't think.
Positively surprised.
Yeah. There's a lot of people out here on the Western Slope that, I've smoked a lot of herb out here, and there's kind of been a standard, where I'm like, okay, this is like the majority ceiling out here. There's a few people that really shine, like David and Miles, and there's a lot of folks in the Build the Soil crew that absolutely crush it, which is, kind of to be expected. But I have no idea who entered this cup and even what any of the strains were, but I was pleasantly surprised on most of the entries so far. I was just like, oh shit. There was one where I was like, I need to figure out who this guy is so that I can hit him up later. But yeah, very pleasantly surprised, and I can't wait to see what shows that we got like 6 more tonight to check out. And I'm stoked to see if
Facility,
anything.
facility is just stretching, starting his day.
But yeah.
That was me. Yeah, when I smoked the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity, I was like, this is delicious.
I love when you come across something like that.
So, are there pockets kind of within Colorado that are like pockets of, I don't want to say humidity, but like less dryness than your average? Because, I mean, isn't that the
Um,
main issue with flour versus hash in Colorado, that is just so dry everywhere?
yeah, for outdoor 100%. Uh,
No, Joe, I'll put some more up when I get back. I just didn't know how many I had. It's like he sends them in these little, uh, like coin vials, and so I kind of guesstimate, and I just put like 5 packs up.
mm. But yeah, all over Colorado is pretty dry. But there are spots like like the further east you get, it gets a little bit more humid, like in the Boulder, like Longmont kind of area, but it's still relatively dry. Um, but I don't know how to put it. There's places in like mountain crevices. It's like little big enough valleys that like get just enough sun exposure and just enough breeze that the temperature is low enough that you do get a little spike in humidity just because of the way, relative humidity is. Um, but
Do you see that question?
yeah, yeah, kind of in that area.
Let's use
Um, it's
a
I would
geography,
yeah, and
a Rain Man of geography.
mhm.
Very knowledgeable.
But you also see like some tornadoes and shit up there, so it's kind of the weather is kind of different in that area. Um, but the thing that
Yes, he did. Oh, and I got those. Sorry. Go ahead.
I think the thing that really like sets at least the area of Western Colorado apart, it's why like the peaches out here and the fruit production out here is kind of off the chart. Like right now, we're looking at like 40-degree temperature swings between day and night. So we're down into 60s when I wake up in the morning at like 5, 6 o'clock. And then by 3, 4 o'clock, it's 102. And that high temperature swing creates like, I haven't figured out what it does to the resin, but that's why the hash I think does so well. But it also like contributes to this shitty burn when you're talking about smokable flour. And I don't know, like I think the resolution to that is a much longer cure, but I'm also wondering if like a sun dry might help just because the sun is going to break down chlorophyll a lot faster than like a cooler dark hang, but you're going to lose a lot. So I'm thinking about playing around with that, like going down into like that Moroccan method where they're like, and even Pakistani, I think, where they're like kind of drying their plants in the sun a little bit to kind of relieve some of that harshness. But I also wonder if it's going to break down some chlorophyll to make for ultimately like a smoother smoke. Because we do that with tobacco, right? Like it's one of the things that kind of fucked me up a couple of years ago or last year was like not drying the leaf in the light. Like they use the light to break down the chlorophyll better. And I was like not doing that. I was like the dark approach. So there's some different shit going on with why the light is involved. And so I'm wondering if that can come into play slightly, like really controlled, maybe not all day in the light, but give it like a couple hours, like in the morning when it's cool and let some like morning sunlight hit it and then bring it inside or some shit.
Yeah.
But I'm
No, I
wondering
mean,
if that'll help.
I think of it part, in the same way as kind of like wine grapes, where certain grapes thrive and, they're expressing peak flavor because of a certain consistent band of temperature swings in that region with that specific cultivar. So it might be that some cultivars are like huge temperature swings, like I'm going to express myself amazingly well. Others are like,
Yep. Yep. And that's, like I said, that's how the peaches and the grapes are out here. Like we've got a ton, like Palisade is kind of known for that because it sits right on the foothill of the Grand Mesa. So it gets like this long kind of morning exposure of cold. And then once the sun really hits peak sky, like all that shit gets just sun and heat. And then the temperature drops. So the peaches are hella juicy. Like Georgia ain't got shit on us when it comes to like juicy ash peaches.
yeah.
And I can't say like our grapes are comparable to Napa Valley, but we do have a pretty big wine tourism thing where people come out here
Okay.
and stay like in hotels and bike ride all around Palisade and hit like these tasting venues. There's like fucking 40 in Palisade. And it's this small little town just on the edge of Grand Junction if you're coming in from the east down I-70. And as soon as you come into Palisade, you see just a shit ton of vineyards and then the peach trees. And then there's some cherry shit going on. But the fruit scene over there is really quite impressive for this small little town. And then Olathe, the sweet corn in Olathe, that's kind of out towards Hotchkiss where Miles is at and kind of towards where Build-A-Soil is at. And they get kind of the similar type of temperature swings. And that's really like the king of sweet corn. Like Olathe sweet corn is insane. There's sweet corn and then there's like Olathe sweet corn. And again, that's due to the temperature swings and the cold, like the super cold mountain runoff that comes right off the mesa. So it's like,
That's interesting.
yeah. So those types of things, like it's like terroir, right? Like same thing for cannabis. You just have to find the right cultivar and that's why I'm kind of fucking around with some Afghans. I'm looking more for the Afghan variety for outdoors instead of like narrow leaf shit. But you get good sized narrow leaf shit in the greenhouse where I can get the humidity up a little bit more. I'm like, there's a place for them if you've got a greenhouse because you can control humidity a bit. Like I could throw in a wet wall and get that greenhouse down to like 78, 82, 3 degrees and maintain like a 40-50% humidity and those would absolutely crush, especially in like a light depth situation where I can trigger flower a little bit earlier and get past the really finish before October and I hit that cold season, because that's the other part is like narrow leaf shit out here doesn't finish. Anything that goes beyond like the
Right.
first or second week of October, you're getting just wicked frost. So yeah, outdoors out here is tricky, but the indoor, anything that's like proper indoor slays because it is so easy to control humidity because it's so dry here. You can literally just maintain humidity in your room based off of your plants, unless you're in like a big commercial facility, obviously. But like I can control humidity just by basically pulling outside air in because I go outside right now and it's like 15%, maybe 20.
Do you want to do a quick tour before people stumble on?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
or as people are.
Yeah, I got some fun, I guess, anecdotal evidence from the greenhouse. Every time. There we go. My slow dogs. All right, so the ones in the front in this silver bed here are the Amaretto Sour OGs from Brother Mendel.
Yeah.
And dude, they have stretched so incredibly well, and they're just super rigid. I mean, for auto flowers are tough out here because there's so much stress that goes on. Sometimes they don't like get big. They trigger early, and then you're just like, ah, fuck. I've got like this 8th plant. But these I'm pretty stoked with, and for like the end of week 2, I don't know, they're just doing really fucking good. They smell incredible. They have this like sour OG with this nuttiness to it. And they're, like I said, they're still pretty early, but that stalk rub is phenomenal in the morning. And when I come out here and do some watering, like first thing as the sun's coming up, they're really like, I can smell them just by touching the leaves. And I think that has to do huge with the temperature swings we were talking about earlier. It's crazy. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like they hate being super hot, and we're hitting like 102 degrees for like the last month since I planted them basically. And then all in these pots are the Afghans that still haven't shown me their sex yet. Like, and I get in there with the scope and still haven't seen them. And I have like 1 or 2 that really don't mind the heat that much. And then every one of them, dude, like they just immediately crisp up during the day. So I'm trying to like move them around. I started like flooding these trays just to like keep the soil super wet so that it maybe like cools the roots a little bit better. But like I've lost 3 that just are like, nah, fuck you. I don't want this heat. Even if I put them in the shade, dude, it's wild. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with these? So yeah, there's Afghan Sour Punch, which seem to be the ones that are doing the best. And then the Afghan times Hindu, they're just super slow. Like these are all the same age. They're super slow, and I think those are the ones that I've lost to the heat. Afghan Hindu, Afghan Hindu, Afghan Hindu. So I'm like, maybe the Hindu absolutely hates high temperatures. Because I'm like, Hindu Kush Mountains, I guess mountain ranges don't get up to 102, 103. So that's kind of my mindset. I don't know. That's why I was hoping to talk to somebody about Afghans and kind of some of the areas of Afghanistan that the plants are coming from. And then lastly, in the greenhouse, these are all autos as well. And I think they're doing better than I thought. But I don't think they're going to have very many plant sites just because it's not as bright light in here. I need to pick up that light depth, but it takes 2 people, and I just haven't had it yet. But this is the strawberry sour D. These 2 both.
Did you see Ryan's comment? The Ghazna's thrive and the
yeah. I need to actually
put
get
them
those
in the ground as
next
much
year.
as.
Yep. Sour D, F5.
Put them in that rocky
Mendel.
soil there.
Yep. Those sour D autos get big. I feel like if you were really like experienced indoors with them, you could trellis them and get a pretty good pull off of them. This is more of the Amaretto Sour. So this came from the same seed pack as the one outside. And that's kind of my gauge. I'm like, oh shit, you can tell like there's a lack of light in here just from the size of these plants. Like, they should be way bigger. And this is a blueberry octane a la mode. They're not huge, but I'll get a little taster off of them. And these are all just 10-gallon pots. I've always had good luck planting 2 autos in a 10-gallon. They seem to share the space well if you can like bend them out. Like indoors, I'd probably just lean all these over and do just a little low stress training on them as they start to stretch. You can kind of, I don't know, you can get a little decent pull off of them. But yeah, that's the garden tour.
So right now it's mostly autos, right?
Yeah. My goal was to find 4 solid females from this batch and put them in those big beds. But I'm like almost to a point where everything should be starting to flower. And like I said, this morning I got in with a scope and like nothing is showing me sex. And I've sexed plants way smaller than this, outdoors and in. So it's another question. I'm like, do Afghans like,
Rusty.
are they just a little bit slower? What the fuck is going on with these? And I don't necessarily like want to talk shit on, you know, the selection process of these, but because I don't know, like, I don't know where the Afghans came from. I don't like know their lineage. I know these were like, the Afghan Hindus were like a back cross. And then the Afghan sour punches were sent to me as like testers. So there's like a pheno hunt pack, I guess. So that's kind of, yeah, just having fun out here this year, seeing what's up.
And speaking of auto flower enthusiasts.
Yes.
I'm joking. We're getting heckled. Rusty, our resident Waldorf and Statler.
So here's, friends don't let friends grow autos. Here's the beauty in auto flowers. When you're just trying to do some shit, dude, I had an itch that needed to be scratched. I mean, I'm just gonna start with that. Like, I needed to grow some plants and not have any like major sentimental attached to them. And when I find a killer photo period, I kind of start to go nuts in the world of like, okay, how do I hold on to this? And I have 0 garden set up right now indoors. Like I don't even have anything to really start seeds or take clones. So then it becomes like taking a clipping of this and like hurriedly setting up like a little clone tent and washing all my and doing the whole thing and then explaining to my wife like what happened, like where all this came from. So auto flowers prevent me from all of that, and it's just literally to scratch an itch. And if I'd have 0 money aside from maybe a water bill into that and a tiny drip of electricity, then the itch gets scratched and there could be a chance that I get some decent smoke out of it. And literally this summer is where I saw the value in autos. I'm like, oh shit. It's just, and they're not huge, so they don't take up a shit ton of time to process or take up a bunch of space. So for me, they were literally just like something to do and give my attention to, because I haven't really had any plants, especially indoors, going for almost over a year now. And the outdoor thing, it doesn't seem long enough. Like, even if you do a whole summer and then go through harvest season and then process everything through harvest season, after everything's done, you're just kind of like, okay, we could do that again. And you're just waiting for spring. Yeah. Yeah, I got to have something going. So this is kind of, for me to try to take a summer off and do the whole thing, I was just like, no, I'll just put some autos in the ground. It'll be like a 3-month deal. It'll hold me over until I get a tent set up for the winter. I can rock something through the winter, and then by the time I'm done, I'll have my garage fully set up, and then I can do some real runs, a few breeding projects, like really fuck around. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah.
Jimmy, do you have enough reception in the middle of nowhere to give a little garden tour?
Yeah, I can go out for a few minutes. We got a little rain coming in.
And I can't ever remember where you at, Jimmy. You're on the east, right?
Yeah, we're in the Northeast, Western New York.
Okay. Okay.
One last rip before he goes outside.
Yeah. Got to make sure your cognitive functions are right on point.
That's right. No, I can't complain too much. We haven't had a whole lot of rain this year, so this is not a terrible thing. Timing. We are off grid, so generators it is. All right, let's see. What the fuck am I doing here? How do I flip this damn thing around?
3 buttons on the bottom.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the sprocket, and then the camera, and then the drop down to flip it.
2 little arrows. Yeah.
Let's see here. Menu settings.
Camera.
Oh,
And then the drop
camera.
down. Let's see.
Okay, wait a second. That better?
Yes.
And then turn your camera like a TV. Like oh, look at that. Full screen.
All right. There's the. Oh, who is this? Okay, so Afghan skunk Hindu. This is Afghan, so it's Warlock, which is Afghan 1, Skunk 1, and this was hit. The Warlock was hit with the Black Garlic Hindu last year, so that's one of those. This is the Black Garlic Hindu. Clean these up. Must be pruning this weekend, not getting rained on. So that's Afghan skunk or Black Garlic Hindu. Here's another one of the Afghan skunk Hindus. This is a little bushy bitch, real branchy, really needs to be cleaned up. Busy.
Have you run that before?
What's that?
Have you run that cultivar before?
No, the Afghan skunk Hindus is the first time I'm running them outside.
Yeah. Are you worried about mold setting in at all with the? I mean, you said you didn't get a lot of rain this year, which is good, especially if you're running like Afghans and Hindus.
Yeah, no, we let's see, between the Lost Coast and then we started using that I have to get the names of it. Oh shit. One of them's Venerate, one of them's Grandivo.
Yep.
And there's another one. Morone or whatever. 2 bottles. Yeah, I mean, so far, no aphids, no fucking, no PM, which there's a lot of it around here. I didn't grow the hard squash around the good garden. Yeah. Okay. So that's Black Garlic Hindu Dad with Triangle Kush. This is. Oh, fuck, I gotta check and see who you are.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, okay. That's another Afghan skunk Hindu. This one's not quite as busy inside. Be a lot easier to care for. Might have to keep a copy of her just in case. This is Hollywood Pure Kush by Black Garlic Hindu. Nice plant. Should be easy to care for, easy to clean up. That is Hash Plant 13. Just a stubby little girl.
Yeah.
A little slower growing. Her and the that one right there is my buddy made her. That's Christmas Kush. I have to ask him what's in it again. It said Christmas bud and some sort of Afghan that he was gifted, I think. Okay. So that's another. This is another TK Triangle Kush by Black Garlic Hindu. Big tall happy plant. I love the structure on these too.
Yeah, I do too.
There's just not a lot of extra shit. They'll be easy to clean up.
Yeah. What's your guys' season? I'm sure you've said this a million times. When your guys' season kind of end out there?
Oh well, you want to be done by November because anything can happen. Like last year, we got this horrific ice storm, turned all my long flowering shit into fucking popsicles.
Oh yeah.
We got a wicked ice storm about the second week in November. So, I mean, anytime in November, you got to start looking out. You can have snowstorms. We've had, when I was a kid, we there were a couple occasions where we go trick or treating in the fucking snow. So it still happens. This is who the hell are you? Look. Then okay. So that's another. Let's see. Screen's ready to go up. That's the Afghan skunk Hindu. And so there's a couple that are, more Hindu, more Afghan, a little squatter, a little wider on the leaves. These are kind of a in-betweener.
Right.
For the most part, though,
they're looking good, man.
Yeah. And these went in a little late this year. I'm probably 2 weeks behind where I was last year. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. They got fucking massive last year, and it was a little bit of a pain in the ass to keep them all standing. It gets a little windy in the fall.
That's why I kind of like planting a little bit later. That's why I was kind of messing around with the Afghan stuff, because I wanted stuff that stayed a little bit squattier and a little bit more rigid. And like those things are built to kind of hold up to it.
Yeah, they're just a little. It's just a little easier on the maintenance if you can hold off a little. And I think we may have found the sweet spot here. We're just starting to. We're just starting to come together here. Just starting to. Yeah. Another week or two, and they'll be Jimmy jamming. This one. All right, so that was another Hollywood Pure Kush by Black Garlic Hindu. This is another Afghan Skunk Hindu. And another real easy one. Just great. Or I haven't touched this thing yet. As far as pruning or maintenance, a little spray.
Those are all from seed?
Yes, sir.
Fuck yeah.
Everything except for the hash plant 13, obviously the Christmas Kush my buddy sent, and then this gal here that from B down. I don't know what the hell it is. It's some kind of sour something in there. But everything else is from seed. Stuff that I made last year, and then and then a couple of clones. Oh, this is this girl. So that's Ball Gag, which is Jeezel by Whisker Biscuit. And Whisker Biscuit is Gorilla Biscuit by Vietnamese Black. So there's Sensi Star, Star Dog, the Vietnamese, all in there. This one, hopefully, it looks like she should rock out and finish just fine. She's not too far behind the others. As long as they show, I got a couple of stubborn ones, particularly the Whisker Biscuit takes its sweet time in showing. I was going to throw a few out back, and I'm still like waiting on her to tell me, or her or him to tell me what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that one, those were made a couple of years ago. These were last year. That's another Afghan skunk Hindu. It's a real bushy fucker that needs to be cleaned up terribly. Cleaning and caging this weekend.
Oh yeah.
So
Part of
sorry,
Some
Gorilla
episodes.
Biscuit is Sensi Star crossed with Stardog. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's Sensi Star Turpentine cut by Stardog. And that was we used the black cut, which was found by Four Wise Eyes. And so we used that by the Vietnamese black male that I had found and sent some pollen over to Two Tone Willie, who made the connection for me. And he also had hit Lem's Blueberry, which was the black and blue balls that went on to become Blue Scream and a couple others. So shout out to Willie for getting that done for me. Let's see. These were extra Afghan skunk Hindus. That little guy's going for a ride this weekend. That's a Soma brew. So that's Soma's Sour Diesel by Coca-Cola Root Beer. And so he's going to knock up this little group here. We're going to take them for a ride. We got a black garlic Hindu. There's couple Afghan skunk Hindus. This is Whisker Biscuit. That's another Whisker Biscuit. And I think that's it. Going back there. So, yeah, that's it for this year.
just a small little run.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had enough last year that I made. I still have a good bit of hash that I hash material. So we're good on that. I just need a little outdoor flower to enjoy, and then hopefully we'll get something indoor set up.
Yep.
Yeah,
No,
a
there
while
goes.
back, Rusty had mentioned that I haven't run the Black Garlic Hindu, but one of the Black Garlic Hindu F2 seed moms was straight turpentine.
Bro, that shit's wild when it hits. Like when you get a really good like turpentine paint thinner and it's like all it is, it's such a wild experience while you're smoking that shit because you're just like, what's in this? It's almost like you just dipped your joint in paint thinner and it's so overwhelming to me. Every time I get it, I can't put the joint out and I don't want to keep smoking it. It's the weirdest complexity I run into, but that shit's so good. That turpentine.
You have to try some Whisker Biscuit. Send me a DM or something. I'll send you some Whisker Biscuit. It's the turpentine comes out all over the place.
Yeah.
That Sensi Star cut. Man, I'd love to have a fucking taste of her. Just by the way it comes out in the way down the line too. Like this is like she's now like the grandparents or great grandparent, and it's still unmistakable.
The last time I had it, my buddy kicked me a jar of, it was like some Chem D back crosses from CSI.
Oh,
And
right on.
oh shit, man. Like it was, you get about halfway through the joint and it was just straight turpentine. And it was just wild, dude. I was like, God, I haven't had this in a while. Where it's just like pure chemical, just in your face chem. I don't know. It was just really good. And oh, you don't see it anymore. And that's the whiskered biscuit you said?
Yeah, yeah. The like I said, the turpentine. It's really fun when you get one that leans, physically leans heavily towards the Vietnamese. You get these big, tall, uh, branchy, loose, kind of loose flowering ones, and then you get up, and usually that kind of stuff, right? It's got the sandalwood and like spices and grassy and blah blah blah. And then you get your
Right.
nose in one of these, and it's like, holy fuck, man, it's just straight like kerosene.
Yeah.
And it looks like a sativa, but it smells like some gnarly little Afghan that just out stinks the whole garden. Um, so those are kind of neat. Yeah, I'll send you some.
Or yeah, I'm down to check them out.
Yeah,
And that came from the Star Dog. Star Dog in
yeah, so there's a Stardog nail over the Sensi Star Turpentine cut. That's how it's labeled. And that was originally from Seeds of Compassion, I believe.
Okay.
The Gorilla Biscuit.
Fucking names.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. I still have a pack of their. I had a pack of the regular Gorilla Biscuit, and then they took the black cut that Two Eyes found, and hit that with a male of their selection from the Gorilla Biscuit, and made an in cross with the selected female from Four Wise. So I still have the pack of in cross to go through, just in case.
Right.
And I saved F1, F2, F3 of the Whisker Biscuit as well, just in case we got to go backwards.
Dude,
and make it.
That Kimmy Sour's making a comeback, dude. I'm seeing it more and more and more. More people are getting back into that. I don't know. It's like a gradual mix out here in Colorado. There's like everybody's into this fruit cookie thing, and they're slowly getting over into this like fruit like sour. And it's just kind of wild to me how now all of a sudden like mainstream has kicked back into this like old 90s vet, and there's people like, oh, I've been doing this for years.
Well, yeah, it's the
I've
same
been
shit.
working on the Chem Sour for years.
Oh yeah, I saved a pack of what the hell is it? Bubblegum 91. I think it's labeled. I don't know what the fuck. It's probably some sort of Chem 91 bubblegum mashup from JJ. Just because that's the kind of shit that I've always smoked.
Right.
And I think I think a lot of people, if you've been shopping at a dispo over the last several years, you probably noticed that a lot of this shit just all tastes the same. It all feels the same. It's all just kind of. So maybe they're starting to gravitate back towards stuff that's a little different. And again, for a lot of us, it's not any different. It's the same old little little tweaks here and there. But the commercial crowd is coming full circle.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of cool. It's cool to see that, just in the sense that in my mind, I see it as people like starting to not just develop a palate, but they're starting to realize like this shit can hit you different if you step outside this one little genetic pocket.
Well, yeah, it's just gotten so mishmashed that like, yeah, there's 1,000 different varieties, but they're all like just different combinations of each other. You know?
Yeah. Well, and there's some people out there on the market that are like doing legit shit where they're, they're kind of pushing the harvest realm boundaries where they're like, we're not going to hold to this 60-day cycle. We're going to push it, at least out to 70. We're going to hold, we're going to hold some of those varieties. So there's a few out there, but they're so far in between that it's difficult. That's why I started like really getting into like judging cups out here in Colorado, because I'm like, I know there's between some of the commercials and some of the home growers, like there's pockets of people who are putting off absolute fire. And I
Yeah.
don't think they get enough like recognition. And that's kind of it was really kind of inspiring a few years ago. My buddy Miles held this like build a soil cup. And to see these people kind of come from like all over these corners of Colorado and show up with like some really killer like living soil herb, it's like, all right, it's possible, whether it's greenhouse, indoor, outdoor. Like there were some farmers that showed up and people are like, oh yeah, he's just over in Durango, or he's just outside of Uray, or yeah, he's here in Montrose, or oh yeah, he popped over from Junction. Like, oh, all of a sudden, like, I don't know, it's really kind of cool to see this community of people who are dedicated enough to a point where it's starting to influence the commercial scene. People are starting to recognize that it is beyond like your standard cookies and
Well, that's how it works, though. That's how it works in farming. That's how it works in agriculture, right? You have, the big ag is going to do what big ag does, right? But usually they model themselves, at least in part, after what the little guys are doing, because they want that fucking, they want that market. They know there's the market there. So
right,
when farmers started saying, well, you can go to the grocery store and buy shit that's been sprayed with God knows what, or you can just get what was grown in my backyard out of fucking cow shit. Uh, and
yeah,
before you know it, you have the organic movement.
right, right,
So it's all because corporate, like generally they they're just fucking parasites. They don't have any original ideas. They just leech off of what other people do.
right.
So it's just going to be the kind of the same in the cannabis industry where you know they're going to find something easy and popular and they're going to run with it, and then as corporate does, they beat the dead horse until there's nothing left,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then they find a new niche to exploit. So you know the nice thing is that they'll probably never get their dirty little hands all over the long flowering shit because it's just not profitable enough for
No, I don't think most will. There's a few, but I
Yeah,
think
actually,
it's
I wanted to see what Budulero charges for
that's who I
in
was
the
just about bringing
California
in.
market for like I think he has like a pearls dry sift,
Yeah,
it, right?
right? So like, but generally the consumer market doesn't value like it's gonna take much longer to flower, yield 1/10 as much.
yep,
Yep.
yes. So they're going to be paying a higher price. Yeah, it's going to be. I don't know. That's why I think there's going to be a point where it does open up to like it's either going to go back into like this really gray market, or people are going to start pushing for this, the medical card thing, because as as the the mainstream consumers, as they become more educated to what's possible, if they can't afford what commercial growers are offering these long-ended flowering varieties for, it's going to go right back to like, oh well, I'll just get a caregiver. At least
Oh
here in
yeah.
Colorado, you're going to start seeing this influx and people being like, oh yeah, I can only get like the real good stuff from the gray market and go back into this, medical caregiver world, because it realistically, there is a point indoors at large scale where it is not really super profitable to hit, I would say beyond 70 days. I think I think there's a way to get rotational harvests in around a 70-day mark. But to go beyond that, your canopy size has to be insane.
Yeah, yeah, you'd have to almost set up like a pre-flower type of situation where you can get plants kicked off a week or two before your
Yep.
70-day ones are done. Figure out a way to do it economically.
Yep.
But that's, hey, it's good for the craft growers. This is where people, this is where the gray market thrives, and that's offering up things that the regular market either doesn't have access to, or they're lying, right? They're just straight up lying about what they're selling. They
Right.
don't have access to the genetics,
Well,
or
and
it's
that's so much
something
it
that
is
they're
the
just
access.
they're
There's
just
so
not
much.
going to bother with, because it's just it's too long of a flower. It's not the
Well, and
jam. If you have to spend 20 weeks flowering a plant and then another several months properly curing it,
I think
what kind of commercial operation is going to get into that?
oh yeah. But I also think like there's this realm, like we can kind of shift over to the homegrown market. Like there's people willing to do it, like again, smaller scale. But I think going like you mentioned like access to genetics, there are so many people working with like the mainstream breeders. I don't really know how to categorize like the breeder market because it's so there's like the guys kind of in these small local pockets who are kind of creating stuff for like their little community, and then no, not I don't know their that level of experience, and then there's people who have kind of acquired a bunch of cuts and now all of a sudden they're kind of in the fem game. And then there's people who have like really seen a lot of plants, but they're kind of like in the underground realm where, you've got to kind of know to know. Like it blows my mind how many people you talk to and I bring up like Mean Gene and Freeborn and they look at me like I have four heads. I'm like, you don't know who that is? Like, how do you not know who that is? So like
They
there's
know
these
who
really
it is.
yeah, there's these really good experienced underground breeders that have like held down the game for a long time and really still have access to these quality genetics. And then there's this like mainstream crowd of breeders who kind of everybody knows. They always get the podcast interviews and they hold the genetics that everybody seems to talk about, or they've created the genetics that everybody seems to talk about, and they're now like doing their own thing. So there's like these tiers of breeders, and there's so many of them out there that people who are just getting into home growing, or maybe they've only been doing it for a handful of years, they have no idea like what genetics are actually out there and how to access those genetics. It's one of the things I love about FCP is it is kind of an easy reference point to be like, here's some stuff you won't really see just surfing the internet looking for quality gear. And yeah, the access thing is huge in the way this market is exploding. And that's what kind of gets me with this whole new rescheduling shit is access.
I think we
Like
just. Oh, now
heavily,
you're back.
heavily. Yeah.
You said with this whole new rescheduling thing, and then you cut out.
Oh yeah. So with the whole new rescheduling thing, like just the access in general has been massively restricted. So now if you're afraid to even look online on who to get seeds from, or maybe there's some people who are afraid to, ship outside of state, now all of these like people who are interested in growing at home now are limited to their borders, which kind of sucks. Unless you know some people who are willing to kind of work around that, which again, that's why I kind of love what FCP's rocking, because it allows people to still kind of maintain that access to an extent. Like you still got to know somebody to know somebody. It's not just like easy accessible information, but that the access is a big key factor. And the more people who just consume and don't cultivate, the more those people experience some of the sours, some of the chems, some of those like You know, I still will stand next to a true OG and a Hindu and a Northern Lights. Like when you really stumble upon a good version of those, you'll forget all the names of the shit you've seen in the dispensary shelves. Like you just go, wait, what were those again? And all you can think about is like those good varieties. Like I drool over trying to find a proper super silver haze. You know, it's just one of those varieties that's kind of gone. It's not, but it is.
It's funny. My I think he's either 19 or 20, but my nephew, who goes to the University of Miami, came to visit. Uh, like last Saturday night, we went out to dinner together, smoked a bunch together, and then I sent him back to Miami with a bunch of packs. He's like, I want to grow, no experience. So in my head, I'm like, all right, here's a bunch of like feminized seeds. So like you don't even have to. It's like, how do I make it as simple as possible for him? And then the day he got back, he was like, what do I need? I was like, well, you're gonna need soil. Like you can put it in solo cut. Like, and then 2 hours later, he's sending me pictures. He had already gone to like he got Miracle Grow organic mix, and I was like, "Ah," but I'm like, good enough. uh, and so I've been like, but from when I sent him home, I've been kind of texting him like, here's what you do next, and he's been doing it, and now he has all the stuff he wanted to pop in solo cups by the windowsill with like a light on a timer to give it some supplemental lighting for the next month or so. Um, so at some point we'll bring him on and we can
Yeah.
collectively coach him
Bro,
and
that's
cheer him
exactly
on his first grow.
that's exactly like how the Kush coach like thing that I was doing got started. Was literally like a handful of people who had no idea. I did exactly what you just did. All the way through harvest, all the way through identifying males and females, through understanding like what chemical nutrients and organic cultivation is and all of that stuff. And then it just took off to where I was just like in a private Facebook group with like 30,000 people just doing that with Brother Mendel and like understanding his genetics enough to be able to like go buy this strain from Brother Mendel and then pop these seeds. And then once they get going, I'll help you start working through like how they behave so that you can start understanding like phenotypical variation. And it turned into a whole ass thing, dude. It snowballed so fucking quick. But it's awesome to see that growth and to be there, like you said, to cheer them on. And then that's kind of how the group was. It was like a group of people cheering each other on as they learn and show off their progress. It's super dope. It's so fun to do that shit. How many rounds is he in?
Hold on, let me post some of his pictures.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is too funny. I even had him so he could see the roots. I had him do the like clear solo cup inside the red solo cup,
Yeah.
and then I had him put them in like a. He has like a little Tupperware thing, so I'm having him wick it up from the water from the bottom. Instead of trying to water stuff all the time, just let it kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the. Yes, the. Miracle Grow. Yeah, we're gonna have to educate him on.
Well, especially like when he goes through and smokes on it and like goes through his own little smoke report and is like, oh, why is it like this? And why is it like this? We can collectively pull knowledge to be like, well, try this next time and try this next time. And this, you're looking for this. Like, that shit's so fun to me.
Well, it's like when I try to troubleshoot my mom's computer remotely, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
how do you dumb it down and simplify it?
Yep.
Uh, Jimmy, someone asked about the black garlic Hindu lore, the backstory on it.
Oh yeah.
So is it so Emerald? I always get them confused. There's Emerald Mountain Legacy. That's another broad shit. I wish I had the package. I don't know if I have it with me. It's just something that had gone around California since, I don't know, the 70s or something like that. It had said. It had just been line bred and preserved and kept around, and emeralds.
Yeah, Ben is
Emerald.
Emerald Mountain Legacy.
Yeah, they're
Is the
EML.
brother
This is
of.
like emeralds. Emerald
I hate
Mountain,
that.
Emerald Mountain Heirlooms or something like that, or shit.
Legacy.
Emerald Mountain. No. It's not Mandels. It's different. It's very close to Ben and very
okay.
close. It's very close. That's why I keep getting them. I always get it fucked up because I want to say Emerald Mountain Legacy, but that's Mandel's shit.
Is it Emerald Triangle Heirlooms or something like
Yeah.
that?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's Emerald Triangle. I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is. For the love
I
of
missed
God.
what you're talking about. Was it something good though, Jimmy?
Oh, I'm just trying to remember who put out the Black Garlic Hindu. And it took forever. They didn't have it listed anywhere. I had to go directly to them on Instagram, and the whole transaction took like several months to finally complete. And I don't see them. I don't see much of their stuff, much of their gear anywhere. Not the Black Garlic. But yeah, apparently it's just an heirloom Hindu that had been preserved and kept in that area for many years. I do like. I thought maybe that the black garlic maybe was going to be necessarily a really colorful plant, not necessarily, but it does have the that sweet fermented black black garlic, fermented garlic on a lot of them. Oh, it's so good. We're seeing how the babies turn out this year. We'll see how it breeds.
And it's funny how you see a lot of the garlic stuff. It does seem to kind of pop out of those Hindu lines. It's like, those OG guys made that kind of connection that there might be like a Hindu Kush kind of in that line. And it's like you find so much garlic BO in the OGs. It's like always like on the stem rubs on like the really good ones, especially like the SFBs and things like that.
Yeah, and it ranges. It's funky, funky acrid, funky sweet, funky. Like kind of funky, like a cheese kind of funky, and all that stuff comes out of the, all that stuff you can find in your Hindus. And that the black garlic is right along those lines, but in and of itself, a little different.
Nice.
So, and we did some indoor. I had a couple. Let me see if I can get. I got, I think, one last one hanging from the light depth shit that we did earlier. I think I got a black garlic.
I love the camera through the steering wheel.
I angled it pretty good.
You need to be
right?
in like a big,
I gotta the money maker.
like 18-wheeler, the supersized wheel with no power steering.
Oh man, dude, my buddies and I, we got this idea, like it's gonna be ice clones. We're gonna go around in the summertime to the beach and we're gonna have ice cream cones and it's gonna have little plugged like clones in it, dude. And we're gonna sell little ice cream cones. Oh nice, dude. Wow. That looks like a flail, man. She looks like she'd like sting you. It's beautiful.
So that's a black garlic.
Nice.
It looks like it would wash well.
I hope so.
I can't tell by not touching it, but it just has that look like it's gonna dump.
And then this is This is TK.
Oh,
TK by
nice.
Black Garlic Hindu.
Oh wow. I love when you get those bull noses on some of those OGs, especially like a bubba, you know what I mean? But that's beautiful looking on that TK cross. Wow. And what's the nose on that like, Jimmy?
Ooh. Oh, black cherry.
Wow.
Sure.
Mm.
Oh, that's nice.
Fuck.
Got like a
My
touch of
mouth's watering.
perfume, like grandma's soap dish. Just a tiny bit, but it's black cherry right up front. Oh, that's nice.
Grandma's dish soap. I immediately went to some flowery shit.
Yeah. Well, it's like in the bathroom. Like in the bathroom,
Yeah.
she got the little soap
That
dish.
you're not
with
allowed
the-
to use.
yeah. No, that soap is just there to smell that's showing up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm just jealous you guys could pull yours off the counter. Hers would never come off the counter for my grandma.
Fucking A, man. That's a
Oh, that's
distinct
awesome,
smell,
dude.
and I
Black cherry.
pick it up all the time. Like in various different varietals. I'll be like, oh, there's Granny's fucking potpourri. Fucking there's her soap dish.
Black cherry
Unmistakable.
flower.
Who
Is
knew
it gas
grandma would
on
be
there
so
at all, or is
useful
it just
for
like real
smell
floral
so-
cherry?
memory connections?
Oh, I love those.
Heck
That's
yeah.
really the best
So it
way
did
to
well in the depth,
describe
Jimmy?
aroma.
What's that?
So it did well in the depths, you said?
Yeah, I mean, well, I didn't have very many. I just had a few stubby fuckers that I did. I took one of my old 8x4 tent frames and just made covered every side but one, so I could just drop it down on top of the plants at the end of the day, or in the afternoon, late afternoon.
Nice.
So I just made
Did you mom that
little
one out,
makeshift.
that black cherry leaning one?
What's that?
Did you end up momming out that one that's got that black cherry nose on it?
No, unfortunately,
Shit.
I didn't save any of them. That's all right.
All good.
I got a bunch going. We'll see if I had a couple that kind of look like that one. We'll see. They're just starting to get their toes.
Yeah, with the bud structure like that, you'd be able to tell it again like immediately, I feel like.
Sure. Yeah, as soon as it starts to stack. But yeah, I haven't. We only tried out a small handful of each one over the winter. The crosses, the TK and the HPK, and then just the straight black garlic Hindu.
Nice.
So we got a few more going this year, and that Afghan skunk Hindu. So the Warlock by Black Garlic Hindu. There's several of them out there this year, so we'll get a nice look at how they do outside, and how they fare against the the mold and the bugs and all the bullshit. Everything so far looks good. I saw an aphid last week. And then I saw a bunch of ladybugs moving. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. They're doing what they do.
Yeah.
And I do my soil drenches, and instead of spraying foliage, let me see if I have it here. So that's the Grand Vivo. That's the drencher. That guy there.
Okay.
That's my soil drench along with this shit.
Oh, nice.
The recharge. All right. Oh, well, that's for that along with the Lost Coast and some copper. That takes care of the molds and shit. Of course, you got to have some of that on hand, old Dr. Brown. Have that shit on hand. Where's that other one? I got another one around here that's the that I do with that I spray. The other green bottle guy. It's around here somewhere. And that, especially for the aphids. Oh, here it is. Yep. Yeah, the Venerate.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the
And
whole lineup too.
That I like to spray, just get right in there. Fuck the leaves, because for the aphids anyway, they gravitate towards the stems. So I just put my little, instead of doing the fogger, which I do for the leaves, if it's like labs or, something like EM1, I do a mix of labs and EM1 and just hit them with the fogger.
Nice.
But for but for those little aphid cocksuckers, I just take my 2-gallon pump sprayer and stick it right in there and just do the stems, douse all the stems down, because that's where those little bastards like to gravitate to.
And it's nice to get
After,
a little residual too in the soil. That way, they don't start crawling into the roots, man.
yep,
I'll tell you,
yep.
one of my biggest nightmares is fucking root aphids, dude.
Well, that's why I do both. I do the drench with the whatever the hell this one is, the Grand Evo. It's like the pellet. It's like little pellets. It's a dry mix, so I just put
Nice.
some of that in the bucket with the recharge, some labs, some EM1, and do a root drench. Just do a soil drench with that shit, and then with the liquid stuff, the other bottle I showed you, that goes into the sprayer. So we get kind of a two-pronged attack on the little bastards.
It's nice because you're like attacking them, but then you're also like actually adding some like microbes back to the soil to kind of defend and fight everything back off.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah, and that's where a lot of it starts. I mean, it's this is the shit that I put on the plants, but the recharge and fresh worm castings, a little fresh top early in the spring to get everything kind of churning along. And I think as that soil matures, it just gets better. I can look at. I think I have the 20 gallons are 3-4 years in now, and the 50 gallons are just in their second year. And for much of the year, the 20 gallons will outperform the 50s. The 50s will
Cam,
eventually
can
catch
you
up.
refresh and come back in because your audio is a little glitchy?
Mine, sure.
No, not you,
Oh.
Cam.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna bring her to camp, so I'll be on my phone.
Cool. So, yeah, where were you at?
Well, trying to battle back the bugs and the mold.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were on your soil drench combo.
Yeah. So we do the soil, we do the leaves, we do the stems, with various stuff. But yeah, like I said, it starts in the spring, early spring, when when you're starting to wake your soil up. It starts to warm up. You're gonna add your top dress. I had a bunch of that recharge stuff.
Yep.
And watered that in, and just trying to get everything to wake up. But yeah, like I said, it's very apparent in just watching
Yep.
the growth of smaller pots that are twice as old. They have a couple of years on the bigger pots, and it's impressive to see how well they perform, and it gets better every year. And then, we're going to plateau at some point, sure, but first year dirt versus fourth year dirt, not a fucking. There's no comparison. It's no comparison.
No. That's actually one of the reasons why I started starting plants later in the season, was because that waking up process and then balancing out as far as predatory to damaging insects and the soil microbiology, when it has a few months to really wake up and do its thing, and then you put your crop in, it almost doesn't even touch your plants because it's already balanced out. So then when one little plant shows up, they don't even recognize it as a food source. They see it as, I don't know, they've already established on all the other plants that you've used as cover crop, or even flowers as trap plants or defense mechanisms, they've all already found a spot. So they're not trying to move. So you're less likely to get hit. And so then it reduces the amount of IPM I have to utilize just based off of like everything's going. Like the biology is already doing its thing, rocking, and every year, like you said, it does get better. It
Well,
absolutely gets better.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like you know, when you have a mature soil, the transplant goes so much smoother. Like
No shock.
there's no
Yeah,
shock,
yeah.
and I think that's also why you know when you get a plant, when you get a new plant in there, and the microbiome is really healthy, it's like immediately there's all these little helpers that attach themselves to that new root set, and so there's no lag, and it's also like it does not just physically, but their immune system is immediately fucking like, oh, cool, like
Oh
we're in a
yeah,
healthy place,
yeah.
and so the transition, like yeah, like you said, there's basically no lag, there's no transplant shock, and the health of the plant, not just its physical growth, but its ability to immediately settle in and be like, yep, we're not going to get moldy, we're not going to fuck the bugs, all this stuff, and you know, so they have a little bit of you know, they have an advantage over you know over a dirt that just doesn't have all that life in it. It has the life hasn't established in there. Um, you know, as I every transplant I did this year in those pots, I'm pulling up worms, and there's you know the little the what are they, the those little pill bugs or whatever they are. Um, you know, this is all kinds of creepy crawly shit, and you know, you can see where the last year's root system is broken down, or is you know is in the process of breaking down. And it's just it's really cool to see, being you know coming from strictly indoor for so long. It's been fun being up here and
Yeah.
getting this how growing shit really works.
You know, kind of going into this K and F kind of, rant concept that we're on. This last year, I took, so like what I have those auto flowers growing in are all in soil that for like the last 3 years, I've grown nothing but wildflowers. And I basically just, it's like you do with wildflowers, you break the flower heads apart, and I even kind of chop down the stalks towards the spring and put it back into the soil, and they break down. And earthworms came up and did their thing. But there's, I I don't know if it's the genetics I'm working with or if it's the soil, but like I've seen almost no bugs on those plants. And I don't know if there's like, and this just could be anecdotal to me, but the petals and shit that drop into your soil, like the the stalks and the root zones of some of those wildflowers smell really good. It's not just the petals, like the whole plant has this like really kind of aroma to it. When you talk about how these plants can like attract and repel insects and even things like nematodes and shit, like it just makes me curious, like what a bundle of wildflowers does to your soil, especially as they, pop up every year and then compost down and pop up every year and compost
Mm.
down. What I've always been curious, like what, because the soil smells different. When I was like moving it, it smelled different. I was like, man, this is like kind of sweet florally. So there's something happening in that shit. And I often wonder, like, when you use like the drop and drop method with your flowers around your property, like you do, with everything else, what that shit's doing to the pest resilience. So
Oh
it's
yeah, well
gotta
that's
do
that.
something.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we call it companion planting, and it's just nature. You know, it's nature trying to balance itself out. Um,
Well, it's like so much more than that. It's like, in the same way that, legumes add nitrogen to the soil, wildflowers add shit. It would basically be like the most raw version of like Lost Coast plant therapy or trifecta crop control or, You know what I mean? All of a sudden, you're just making those ingredients essentially in your soil through composting via like companion planting. Yeah. But it's like
Right.
beyond that shit.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's definitely interesting. I need to do a little more. Not this year. Next year we'll get up our flower gardens and that kind of stuff. I want to attract more pollinators and but you know, it works. It works even when they're just isolated. You know, if you have a pot of marigolds or you know, a pot of herbs,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
you know, it just it works. It works. And so maybe, you know, maybe that's something you wanna look into and see how that you know,
Oh, yeah.
establish like a flower only bed, right? And you know, like you said, just let them go and you chop and drop and you have like the um you know, like the annuals, right? They basically the self seeders.
Yep.
And cultivate a bed like that for several years and then see and then you know what, find out, send the shit in, right? Do a side by side, your local university extension, you know, like here it's Cornell, they're happy to. I think they may charge a little bit here and there for certain services, but the Cornell Ag extension is fucking fantastic.
Right.
So that'd
Yeah.
be
Just
something.
send a soil sample in.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
they're just interesting to say, well, you know, this is a very particular bed that's got, you know, it's for you know, aromatics or whatever, right? There's herbs or
Right.
flowers,
See,
lots of
yeah. See, and
volatile
if there's like
oils.
residual terpenes in the
Yeah,
soil that, yeah.
yeah. That's what you would just say. Hey, look, we're specifically looking for, you know, like volatile oils or, you know, if there's anything that can be left behind
Yeah.
from growing all these flowers or whatever. That'd be cool.
Yeah. That shit's a trip to me. It's,
You know, because
it,
like maybe that's why, right? Like if you go past, you know, like a certain garden, you know, if it's well established, maybe is it more effervescent? Does it have more of a, you know, does it just smell better, right? When you go to the botanical gardens, obviously you're just surrounded by shit, so it's, you know, it's gonna be wicked strong. But I wonder if it just doesn't, if it just, you know, it doesn't improve itself over time because of what it's, you know, like you said, because of what it's dropping, it's, you know, basically feeding off of itself, right?
well, yeah. Yeah. And well, and it decomposes so fast, aside from like the stalks and the roots themselves, like everything rolls so fast. Like once you have a wild, like especially out here, I don't know, like, you know, everybody's got wildflowers, so I assume it's all the same. But once you get like the first year established of a wildflower bed, they just like it will almost outgrow itself. It pushes itself across its boundaries every single year.
Yep.
So if you're trying to like keep it in a certain section, it is going to be, I don't know, it's kind of wild. And that's kind of what I've done over the like the last 2 or 3 years. And that's what kind of was weird when I was moving the soil. I was like, ooh, this smells kind of flowery. And then I'm growing those auto flowers in it, and I'm like not seeing any real like heavy pest damage. And I'm like,
Sure.
this is kind of wild. Like, I wonder if it's, and I've not had to feed the plants. Like, I've not amended that soil at all. It's
Right.
just what it was because I wanted to see. And the plants are like thriving, and I'm like, wow, this is wild. Like, what is going on with these old wildflower beds?
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's, I don't know.
Well, and
Fun
also
things.
consider some interplanting too with some of that stuff, and like, you know, you throw a few marigolds in here, and you know, some basil in this pot. And, you know, at
Yep.
the end of the year, you just chop it and drop it. You know, if you're not eating it, chop it, drop it, let it fucking rot into the soil, and quite
Yep.
possibly next year that'll give you a little, you know, especially the woody herbs, rosemary and thyme and things like that. I can see how that would definitely stick around, you know, especially the woody herbs.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I bet
so
if
yeah,
we had Nick on here, he would be able to explain all of that shit in a way that
right
makes
on.
sense. I'm telling you that cat always has the answers when you're like, I wonder. He's like, well, technically, this compound is so cool.
Great. Yeah, I usually just fumble through things.
Well, it's like it made just kind of the last conversation. I'm like, are these different? Eventually, they become down to different like forms of carbon for the plant. So does it influence the secondary metabolites of the plant? So now you're like talking about more unique aromatics coming from beds that contain like actual wildflowers from your area.
Sure,
So,
sure.
you know what I mean? So now you're really getting into making already known cultivars really unique simply by surrounding them with flowers.
Well, that's just it. Like, how much, how much do you think you can influence, how much do you think you can influence the outcome,
Yeah.
right? Through, you know, slight manipulation of your soil makeup,
Yeah.
right? I know
Yeah.
Duke Diamond talks about his, like his ferment, right?
Yeah.
His juice ferment that he feeds. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how he goes about it, but it seems like it would be something that you could almost tailor to particular cultivars. If you have something that, if you have a plant that smells naturally of oranges and you want to enhance that, then maybe you make like the orange ferment.
Right.
Um,
Well, he
uh,
had Build a Soil make a custom blend for him. So, like, you can get a Duke Diamond Build a Soil blend.
yeah, well, that's his soil base, but then he
Yep.
makes
Yeah,
a
like his own
ferment.
ferments and shit that he works into that. But he's,
Yeah.
like you're saying, customized, like he's got it down to his base. And then
Well,
he
he's got a base
customized everything
soil.
going into that. Yeah.
He's got a base soil, but then what I'm saying is that you could in effect, if what he's doing is that you could customize that drench to the
Oh, yeah.
particular plant. So like again, if you have an orange plant, then you make an orange, you make a ferment out of fresh oranges. Um, if you want to enhance a berry flavor, or so I'm just because that's what his bag was. So he likes some of that fruity, funky shit, and to enhance the fruit flavor, he makes a fruit ferment. And
Right.
breaking, and it's a process. You know what? Not for nothing. I think that shit's about one step away from hitting a copper pot. That old fucking hillbilly. I bet you that's not far away from his fucking mash mix. Love it.
I mean, but there's something to that because,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know a couple of those cats that, and they get wild flavors out of
Yep,
that shit.
yep. And it's
Wild.
the ferment. He says is the most important part because you got to let everything kind of break down before you can just go dumping it into into your pots. So it's that's something that would be fun to kind of mess around with too. I know he's talked about it numerous times. I've thought about it. And like I said, to the point where, well, fuck, if I want to enhance a particular, if we have a grape strain that you really want it to pop with grapes, then you make like a Concord. There's nothing that tastes like grapes more than a Concord grape, right?
Right.
It's like that's the fucking grape juice grape. So maybe a ferment, a Concord grape ferment that you could make a drench with the last whatever 4 to 6 weeks.
Have you ever had Kyoto grapes?
What are they? What are they called?
Kyoho, they're a Japanese grape. Kyoho, I think is the spelling. I'm growing them at home right now, but they're like the grapiest grapes I've ever had. They're fucking awesome.
Right on. Yeah, I dig grapes. I got a little Concord grapevine over here.
It costs like $500 in Japan. No, I'm just joking.
No shark fins were removed for for the making of that juice. They do like their shark fins too.
Well, it's wild. I think Japan has this like quality fruit culture. And so they have like farms that grow these like massive juicy strawberries, and they're like crazy expensive for like just a handful of them. And I think there's a grape version of that. They're like these big, fat, juicy, sweet grape juice type grapes. And then I think there's a couple other fruits they do them with where they like grow them in a very specific shape. I don't know. It's kind of wild. And they're supposed to be like the best fruit in the world.
Huh.
And that as soon as Peter said Japanese grapes, I was like, oh shit, it's those big fat ones that go for like $20 a grape.
Right. I mean, they do have some pretty outrageous fucking food, man. Pretty outrageous.
All right, hold on. Let me get the visual. There we go.
We used to get mushrooms flown in from Japan.
So they're actually, look at this. Boom. But no one in the U.S. knows about them.
Oh, wild.
Golf ball size. Holy Christ.
I wonder what war caused everybody to forget about these grapes in America.
Well, it goes back. I mean, look who's here. Sorry, Daniel, I just saw you. There he is. Oh, he just disappeared. Yeah, in the U.S. we have such a limited I mean, I think now you're getting more variety, but like think of grocery store grapes, right? Like you have the green grapes, you got the red grapes.
Right.
Yeah, it's green, yellow, red, or green, purple, red, and that's about it. Once in a while, Wegmans will have the champagne grapes, and they're just they look cool. They're tiny, they're like little people grapes.
Good morning, Daniel.
They're like tiny. They're like tiny. Like when kids hold them, it looks like when little kids hold up the champagne grapes. It looks like a regular sized person holding up a regular sized bunch of grapes. It's kind of fun.
Right.
But they're kind of a pain in the balls to eat, and they're good. But yeah, we don't really have. Fuck, I don't think so. I'm trying to think back to our specialty purveyors, and no, the champagne grapes were about as fancy as it got.
Daniel, are you growing grapes?
Yeah, we're growing grapes. We got
Nice.
got a few varieties. I'd have to look at the key. I don't know. Like I just harvested some apples from a tree. It's the first time it's bearing. I don't know what it is, but I have a map somewhere. But it was really good early apple.
Yeah, just don't lose the map. That's all.
Yeah. No, we have we have over 60 fruit trees, and I don't know, maybe 10 varieties of grapes. Only 2 are fruiting though, like a Thompson seedless and a red flame.
Right
on. Harmony. Yeah, there's a nice Harmony nursery in Sonoma County. They have a lot of rare heirloom ones. Like we got an apple tree from like the 1800s from England.
Right on.
They got some cool stuff.
How does that older stuff grow for you?
I mean, it's okay. Like it's growing fine, but it's actually not as early as they advertise. Like we have the strawberry parfait and the Gravensteins are coming in before it. It was supposed to be before those, but maybe it just doesn't ever get ripe. I don't know. The foxes are eating it right now.
Right on. Yeah, sometimes it's just a matter of location too,
This is the new seed office.
Nice.
We're in a 20-foot reefer unit.
That's awesome. There he is. He's back. Is it a?
The Wi-Fi is on.
No, you're back.
Yeah. So it's a 20-foot shipping container that used to be a refrigerated unit for semi trucks, and so it's
that's
like got
awesome.
steel insulation in the floor and the wall. Yeah, it's ice cold.
Is that
even
a
in this heat wave.
recent pickup?
Well, it's a recent setup. I bought it a couple years ago, and I just got it set up.
Yeah, the refrigerated shipping containers are.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, they're worth the extra money than insulating them yourself. They just stay colder.
Absolutely.
And then I feel like we touched, or I don't even know if we touched on it last time because you didn't have the best reception. But what are you growing outside this year?
I'm growing about 30 varieties. Yeah, on a 10,000 square foot license, and then I'm growing another 30 or 40 varieties in our nursery, which is, I think we can flower 5,000 square foot. I think I'm only doing like maybe 2 tops.
And is that, what's the kind of breakdown of seed production versus flower production for market?
20% seed, 80% flower.
Okay.
So yeah, but with a couple thousand square foot, you can make more seeds than you need for market But it's so nice. Like I do a lot of R&D for our cultivation in the nursery. Like I'll if I get seeds from a homie or a friend, or like I'll grow them out in the nursery for years, and then once I breed them down the generations, I go, okay, now you're gonna get a spot in the cultivation. But like our farm has so many little nooks and crannies that like you got to figure out where move it around, like tree line versus sunny line, or so like my latest post, I got those little Durban bushes. They're in a shady spot and they're doing great, and because they're going to be ready next month, and there's plenty of light until then. So we have like a line of the farm we got to grow, September finishers, and then we got the other side of the farm where we can go November, December.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember seeing that, and I was like, "That's so cool!" Like, or just so interesting that, within the same, hundreds of yards,
yeah,
distance.
Microclimate.
And then we have another little nook, which is like at the bottom of the farm. It's totally north slope, and that's where we grow the hash strains because they get like that full shade at the end of their life, so they get a really nice color, really nice resin terpene production. That's like some farmers put up shade cloth over their stuff. We don't have to do that.
Yeah, I'm looking. Sorry, I'm queuing up your. I'm actually on Pride of the Lion. One of your recent ones was the Swazi F7. Can you talk about that? Because because that was the pollen you sent me.
Yeah, so I actually just talked to the woman who sourced it last year, and she's an herbalist. She travels around the world, and she brought back some Swazi gold seeds from South Africa, and I bred 7 generations with it, and my friends were taking it, and they brought me back the Swazi gold seeds. And finisher, which South Africa has some branch of the Durban that finishes really early, and that's what I read in I think the Cannabis Breeders Bible. They even in that book they said South Africa has August finishing sativas.
Wow,
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and when we started breeding with it, I think we were hitting like 13 to 15% THC. I wasn't breeding for higher THC. I was just making selections I liked, but it has gone up. So whatever with we're hitting close to 20%, and it hit almost 2% THCV last year, which is also an African signature. And I believe one of the I think I forget what the terpene is, But one of the terpenes that was in the top 4 was also a signature for African strains.
Hmm. Yeah, I've read
But
that that's kind of a unique range of narrow leaf where I didn't know there were some that like finished way early, but like the chemical compound like the THCV I've heard is like a
yeah,
pretty much like a fingerprint of African.
Yeah.
yeah, like
You
the
need
derp.
to send just before I forget, you need to send more. I think people cleaned out the Panama Reds. If you have any of the
Okay.
Swazis, those would be
Oh yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I got. Yeah, I know. We got a big check from you last month. I was like, oh, seeds must be going good.
Well, that yeah, and you need to come. We need to do more of these because you have so much good stuff. Like,
Yeah, and it's and where we're at, like we're in a little banana belt for the region. Like we go into no, we went into February without a season-ending weather this year. I had an 8 foot tall tobacco that had like a ganja stalk on it. I think it was Kentucky. But yeah, it's nice to have that microclimate where we can actually give the sativas their full expression.
Yeah.
what's the exact, like, if you were to describe that one spot that you can go till February? Is it south facing? Is it low? Is it high? Is it
So
a
yeah, our
little?
farm is north. Our farm's northwest facing. So, but on that long season stretch, so that's on the northern edge of the farm. But what really helps is our elevation. We're at 23 to 2,500 feet, and the inversion layer on our mountain's at 1,700 feet. Like you hop on the 4-wheel in the morning to go open the gate, which is a mile down the road. You're in shorts and a t-shirt. You hit that inversion layer. You're like, oh my god, it's so cold. And then I have friends further up in that same mountain range, and they get hail in June sometimes. So they have, so it's like it's a not, and we can grow certain figs that like valley farmers can't grow. So we can't grow like avocados and citrus, but we can grow some figs and sativas.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we were, I think, a couple, we had talked a while ago, and I always point to you as the person who brings, at least as far as I know, more the person I know who brings more things, more generations than anyone else. So like when you were, even like the Swazi, when you were selecting, what were you selecting for? Kind of how were you steering it over time and generations?
I mean,
And
really, we just
same with the
yeah.
Panama Red.
We with the Swazi, because in that first, actually, I took it both ways. There was a wide leaf and a narrow leaf pheno, so I selected males from then. But for me, if it doesn't have the terps in both the male or the female, I usually don't breed with it. Unless I've made a cross with something and the terps I'm looking for didn't show up, I'll at least breed it another generation or two, because to make sure that it's not a recessive trait that I'm looking for. Because if it's a recessive trait on nose or color or anything like that, you can't, if you don't find it in that first F1 cross you did, you got to look for it in the F2 and F3, and so and with the Panama Red, we selected for a definitely nicer looking flower. The Swazi Gold, in that first generation, it was pretty easy to find some nicer structure to it, but it came with like a nicer structure. The Swazi, like it versus like the Panama, which makes sense because the Panama's a November finisher. A nicer structure is going to mold out in Panama. And that is one side effect that I have found of the Panama at the F7 or 8 that it is now, is you'll get a little bit of mold on it in November. A little, not, it used to get none, but um, it's not too bad. But like the haze gets zero mold, and it's end of November because it's and the leaves of the haze there's like nothing I've ever felt before. They're like velvety. There's a different texture to the leaf. Like they're just designed to wick moisture.
Mm.
And what's the background on the haze?
So I got it from Novelty Selections in Covelo. It's one his dad and
Yeah.
him have kept going for like since the
I
70s, and
love, yeah.
but that's yeah. So that's so the haze seeds I sell are his haze crossed with old timer haze because he said don't give out the haze. So, but I made some like I'm growing some pineapple haze, which is our heirloom pineapple from the mountain. That is one of
But
my favorite sativa smokes that I've had in the past 3 years.
it is that haze the one I smoked years ago that what's his name brought me a couple nugs of it that
Yeah, so
I'm
that would be
totally
Haze
blanking
19.
on.
Yeah,
Okay.
Evan,
Evan,
right?
right, right,
The
right.
film guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Three
Have you
words.
talked to him
First
recently?
word sounds like. Yeah, I did. He moved up to Washington. He started a tour company.
Like tour guide, like
Yeah, because he was working in the Bay Area for a tour company, and then he's from Washington, so he moved back up there, and yeah, he started a tour guide company.
do you see that?
Yeah.
And with the Panama Red, not it wasn't intentional, but you had I think mentioned that it the CBD is pretty high in it.
Yes. Yeah, it's very
Like
high
it's
in it.
not what you
Some
were
of them,
focused on,
some of
but
no, but I think so. We got those seeds from Bob Hemphill. He gave them out at Dragonfly
yeah.
Earth Medicine potluck, and I think it might have been the higher CBD pheno. I know he has like a 2-to-1 that he just released of that. Um, but yeah, one of them was almost compliant hemp that one we tested of the Panama Red, but it you can tell when you smoke it that it has CBD in it, but it still smokes like a sativa.
Yeah. And
And
then
at
what
this
other?
generation,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, no,
I
go
was saying
ahead.
that this generation, there you get a lot of purple phenos in it. Like when I first started with it, there was like a green pheno and like a purple pheno, but it's a little more homogenous at this generation.
Sorry, I'm looking at the. Yeah, from yeah, Novelty Select. He sent me a bunch of stuff that I'm excited to grow out. He always sends stuff as seeded flower.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'll like
yeah. I
pull
mean,
the
there's
seeds
such
and I'll smoke it as I go along.
there's such a cool family. They have like an amazing, backyard Garden of Eden, and I know he also occasionally works on other farms in the area. But yeah, cool people. And another 3-kid family.
Yeah, I have 3. No, I love his kids always running around in the background when he comes on. Yeah, that would be a fun place to grow up as a kid.
Right?
Well, that's like, yeah, I mean, so how far are you guys from each other?
I mean, by the Crow, not that far. Covilo's
Right.
like if you're in Potter Valley and you go over the mountains to the north, eventually you come down in Covelo Valley. But there's it, and that drive's not the way but you can get there, not when the snow season is, because you're going the high elevation there. But it takes us like an hour and 45 minutes to get to Covelo.
Okay.
So it's further away than like Santa Rosa.
Right.
Do you see that?
But yeah, I'm about to start some. What is the profile of your Panama? Yeah. Yeah. So there's 2 profiles. You get like like a earthy berry pheno, and then you get like like a hazy pheno of it. That's got like or like that smells like the old world. Smells like old genetics. You, that you But actually, I grew some Guadalajaran last year, and one of those had this like floral bubblegum nose to it, and I made seeds on it, and I'm growing those out. I have 4 big plants.
That's
I'm
awesome.
really excited. I'm hunting Mexican sativas these days. That's what
I like it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so you said you have 4. You have 4 of the same thing growing, or 4 different things growing?
Oh, I'm growing 4 big ones for flower this year. Outside the nursery, just because Soulful bought a bunch of our sativa, long season sativa, and they're gonna do a tincture and gummy with it. I think they're gonna run that this fall, like October, November.
Yeah, that's a whole kind of
But yeah,
market, and
we're
I was just thinking like the long flowering edibles and tinctures and things like that with just different effects.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, there's
I
a
mean,
whole market for that.
we're into the long season sativas. We grow. It's 50 plants of maybe 10 different varieties of sativas. And so the majority of the farm is still, OGs and CBD and.
Love it.
But yeah, that
Yeah.
Orion's Belt OG we made is really nice. We're Yes, Daniel, I love it. More Mexican, please. Yeah, Ken, what's up, brother?
Well, sorry, trying to. Yeah, someone was asking actually about because we lost the video of your pollen collection. I need to.
Oh,
I think I have it somewhere. I could re-upload it.
yeah, because did they take that down or?
Yeah,
I know you had some
YouTube.
issues. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. YouTube has brought the hammer down on 4 channels so far.
Oh
Yeah.
man, yeah, yes. Squarespace shut down our payment processor for life for selling seeds on the website. That's a couple years ago.
Well, that's why I do it how I do it, which is you put things in your shopping cart on website A, and then on website B, which has nothing to do with. It's a very kosher-looking website.
Yeah, I don't have time for another hobby, let alone just to get all the stuff done I have to get done in a day.
Now, I think of hobbies that way. I'm like, do I have the time and space to add this to the things I like to dork out on?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you see that one?
Oaxacans.
Does he have any? Yeah, I grew a Oaxacan from Bodhi seeds last year. I like the Guadalajaran way better. The Oaxacan was a little too worked for me to start with. That from Bodhi seeds. I mean, it was nice, but it also mold. It got a lot of mold on it too, which, if I'm gonna grow a long season sativa, I want.
No moldy mold.
Oh, nice. Green Mountain seeds. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of good. That's a nice thing about social media and the internet is there's a lot of still good, pure genetics out there.
Yep.
But I think Jay Nectar grew a Sinaloan a couple years ago. That thing looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm really happy with the selections I made of the Guadalajaran, and I did make some crosses on the Oaxacan. I think I crossed it with the Guadalajaran and with an Afghan. But yeah, I kind of also scaled back a little bit this year on the nursery, just with stuff that's been going on with the fam and stuff, and wanted to make sure that I didn't overdo. I normally just overdo it every year, but the flower farm's off to a killer start, which is nice. And after that earthquake, we've had more water on the mountain, so that was pretty cool too.
Oh yeah.
That was the craziest thing I've ever experienced outside of psychedelics. I was hand watering some plants, and I heard this noise and saw the tree line like ripple towards me, and then the ground I'm on starts going like a trampoline. I think it was a 5.7 in Redwood Valley, like by a Buddhist temple in it. Yeah, it was. But our well went up like 350 gallons a day after that.
Oh wow.
That's bonkers.
Yeah.
And like dry creek bed.
So it like created cracks and fissures that allowed new water to kind of,
or cleaned out the sediment in previous channels too, or moved some rock around. Yeah. But it's been widespread reporting throughout parts of Mendocino County of increased water flow.
Everyone's like, this is awesome.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild.
Yeah, so I added an extra day to my timers.
Sorry, I'm looking at.
Yeah, and then I've been working on some new autos too, which are like really excited about. I bred some auto flowers into some really nice hash producers. So one of those will be fully auto this summer, and then I'll need to breed it up this fall, and the others will be ready next year. And I'm gonna start seeds in the next 2 weeks for an auto run for seeds, because they'll finish November, December in a hoop house and won't cross pollen with anything else. So it's kind of like a nice way to get an extra round of breeding in with the autos at the end of the season. Because the autos, that's how it's not a lot of flower around right now. Auto seed sales went way up this year.
Yeah, you missed it earlier, but Jeff gave a tour of his auto flower garden outside.
Yeah, they do. They're fun to play with.
I'm almost done here.
I was just saying, Jeff he's growing a whole bunch of autos outside right now, so he was giving a little tour.
Frozy froze.
He'll be back in 10. I love is that above your head, is that rolled fabric, or what is it, Jimmy?
Burlap.
Okay.
Yeah. To cover the garden beds.
Got it. All right, Daniel, looks like you're back. Or no, now he's frozen again. And now he's back.
Now he's frozen.
I'll go a little closer to the Wi-Fi.
Now you're back. Yep. Now we see you.
Yeah, I don't have cell service in the cargo container. The modem's like 20 feet from there, so I guess I can set up another modem in there for the Starlink.
No, this sounds good right now. But so what were you saying? You were talking autos, and you said the good thing.
Oh yeah, I just harvested some for flower, just some of the new OGs we've been working on, breeding into the autos and making full term.
Yeah, they're a nice way to get ahead of the season. I mean, if you've got like some decent auto work going on, like the ones I've got outside, their whole outcross, like everything I'm working with is like I think all the pollen came from like an F4 or F5. And so it took, I think it took it, he was taking it to F5 and then having some like essentially F4 hybrids while taking it to the F5. So this would be like the F4 sour onto whatever he used to make the amaretto. But yeah, it's one of the things I kind of admire about autoflower breeders is that you have to do it the right way. You can't really cut corners. You just have to grow a bunch and then work from the seed of the ones that you select and start those again and, breed back into the parent stock that you had that you selected from
Yeah,
and
it can
pop
take
those again.
about 6.
Yeah, it takes 6-7 cycles.
And he froze again.
I know.
There he's back. Okay.
Yeah, it can
Were you
take like
saying
6 years, I think.
Hold on, we lost your audio. Daniel, we lost your audio. I don't know if you can hear us.
Like fully auto again.
Say that all over again.
So yeah, with this OG auto we're working on, we crossed an auto into a Tahoe Kim cut that's full term, bred it 3 generations to make it auto, then back crossed that auto flower back to a mother cut of the Tahoe Kim, bred it another 2 generations after that to make it fully auto again.
Yeah, and then you start directing like what you're selecting if you're doing profile, the structure of the plant, all that shit. You got to go into selecting. The feminizing process shortens it a lot.
Yeah.
Like these all came fem. I think that's where they're, 4th generation on the fem.
Actually, just quickly, because someone asked the other day how you reverse an auto, like when are you hitting it?
So I
With the spray.
essentially, when I was doing the autos, like I pretty much was spraying like right when I started to see the flower stretch. So like you can see, it's kind of cool with autos because even with these, like you can see this definitive point, like a day almost, where you're like, oh, all those nodes are slightly more spread apart. Like they seem like they're slightly starting to like stretch a little bit. So then you kind of keep an eye on them, and then right when you see that point where they look like they're about 2 weeks in and they're really kind of starting to kick into flower but not fully set those like pom-poms, then you hit them. And for like the next like week or two, you're spraying, those node sites until you start seeing pollen fly. And that kind of depends on, I guess, your sodium thiosulfate mixture, your STS. But yeah, typically like right before you see the full flower sets, like basically I would have started spraying.
Yeah, I basically told him around like 14 to 25 days from germination.
Yeah, I would have probably been spraying
Kind
these
of first
guys,
signs
these
of
girls for about
pre-flower.
a week. Yeah, pretty much. Like right now on this one, like this one would be getting a spray. Like you can tell it's going into flower, but it's not quite that. You know what I mean? Like this one's a little behind, so it's nice, but it's not quite like those pom-poms, but you can tell there's flower sites there. Like this is when I'd be hitting it, and I'd probably like once every so many days for a couple weeks.
And are you using STS or what do you use?
Yeah, STS.
Yeah.
and I'd have to go look at my notes on our mix strength, but it's basically once every 5 days till they show me pollen sacs and start letting pollen go, and then I stop. And I've seen some so strong that they switch back. Like once you stop spraying them, they just go back to female. But yeah, basically right when you start seeing them go into that flower, then you're, because I know some STS sprays, like you really only have to hit like twice and then they start doing their magic. And just working with Brother Mendel, I've chatted with him, and we're both kind of under the impression that doing it like that, I think, stresses the plant a little bit more. So if you can spread your sprays out, it's like your reversal is less stressful on the plant because you're only hitting it like once every couple weeks. And I think I think the recipe he gave me, I think, is like a slightly lower like dose of silver. So it requires like a little bit more application, but it's also like a more subtle reversal. It's not so much just like blam, fuck all your ethylene. You know what I mean? Like it slowly drops it down instead of just completely halting it, which I think helps with the possibility of like herm traits showing up. I think that was kind of the conclusion, we came to, at least when he was explaining it to me. It kind of made sense to me. When it's more gradual on the reversal, then there's like less hormonal stress on the plant, so you're less likely to transfer, any type of herm trait with your feminization. And I have a really hard time finding hermaphroditic traits in any of his breeding. So I'm like, oh, that must be it.
Yeah, and also waiting till you see that the auto has some bud on it too. You can check for the herm traits too. That makes sense too.
Oh yeah, and those, if you're keeping a really good eye on them, then you just cull those plants as soon as you see that. As soon
Yeah.
as you see like that herm tenant, you're just like, nope, we're not even gonna let these. Even when you're going into reversal, you're really looking for that trait, in the first couple weeks, and those show up in different spots. Like usually a reversal on an auto, I've noticed, shows up really in the flower. And you don't really have those pre-sex bracts reverse. So you can, if those you start seeing like are opening up first, then that's typically like herm trait, and I would cull those out. Like anytime you see anything pre what you're applying for spray, then I would assume that kind of goes into herm traits. But he was teaching me like whole plant reversals. We weren't doing just branches. We were like, I was basically, he was instructing me on selecting what he wanted for his pollen donors. So I would look at those and go, okay, here's what I've got in this mix of seeds. And he's like, this is what you're looking for. So I find those, and then those were what become the reversing the parent, like the donor plant, and then going through and pollinating all the rest, and then culling out like what's not good. And so, yeah, that typical breeding, but there's no like holding clones. And
Right.
I suppose you could collect pollen. You could store that fem pollen if you're, pretty good at holding that pollen, and start like really working a little bit of like original parent back crossing, which I'm sure some auto breeders do.
Yeah, and you could also, store some of the seeds of each of those generations too.
Yeah, and that's kind of like at least the way Brother Mendel does it is he's got like his stash of breeder reserves. And so
Yeah.
that's, the handful of seeds that he's like, okay, I'm going back to this parent stock,
Yeah.
which I think keeps the genetic diversity. I think it maintains vigor. And you see, I think you just get to see a lot cooler stuff when you go back that way.
Yeah, because when you're feminizing, like selfie in a line of autos, or reversing it because you're putting it on not itself, that yeah, I guess you get a little bit more generations that way than like selfieing a clone, which you can only do that so many times before you're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
No,
I breed a lot of regular auto stock. I like to try to breed them kind of homogenous, regular before I feminize them.
Yep. Which takes a lot more work. I think when you go down the reg line, I think because you have like more genetic diversity, you have to put in even more of the work without shortcuts, because you really have to work through the males' filial generation stuff too. Like, it's no longer just looking at females. You're now like sorting out what your males are bringing to the table. So I think you have to take autos even further. Like, instead of being like, oh, I've got a pretty homogeneous line at like
Yeah.
your feminized 4 or 5 line, you're really starting to be like, oh, we're taking these to F12.
I think 6 to 8, and then but then that first generation of fem seeds is really nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep. No, that's cool. I'm stoked to see kind of what pops out of your fem work or your auto work.
Yeah, I mean, I've never done depths. I've helped my friends pull tarps a couple times, and I go, yeah, this is why I don't do depths.
Right. Oh yeah. No, it's a pain in the ass. And that's
Yeah.
kind of my thing. Like, if you can, and Brother Mendel's been on that kick too. If you can get autos that like really regularly produce high quality, like there's a point where, you get full size plants that you don't have to depth.
Oh yeah, and when it's trimmed up and in a jar, no one's gonna know the difference.
I think I don't know. I think this debate goes on forever, so I don't even. But I've knocked people's socks off with some auto stuff that I've done from indoors. It doesn't yield the greatest sometimes, but God, I had one that I ran that it was almost too much for me, and then my buddy David just ate it up. He's like, "I'll snag that jar from you." I'm like, "It's all yours, buddy," and he still talks about it.
Yeah, the first time I met Frenchie Cannoli was at this party in Covelo, and people were talking about auto flowers, and I had a jar of the lion claw flower, and I was like, check it out, this is an auto. He like smells it, and he goes, paper. Someone hands him a paper. He rolls it right up,
He clapped.
No, he just put his hand behind him and said paper,
That's funny.
But he would just comment on someone's post on Instagram about like that auto that he smoked that day, and I'd go up like 100 followers or something. He was really surprised. But it's not the autos are not what's in people's memory. And then of course it'll never replace, if you're a depth farmer or a clone farmer, autos are never going to replace that.
No.
No. So yeah. So, pull your tarps if you want to, if you need to. And there's nothing wrong with it, It's amazing that plant can do it,
Yep.
But it's, it's nice to have fresh flower in the sun. Or like people who are growing it in their vegetable gardens in their backyard, they want to put a few autos in or something, or,
Oh, nice.
And then
that's why I did it. That's why I have those, is it just scratches an itch for me. I'm like, I don't really have anything going on in my garden, and I'm just like, God, I want to grow some plants. Bam, autos.
Yeah.
Just something there. Yep. But I got to get off of here, fellas. I got to start doing stuff for this cup. I think I saw
we can wrap it up. So, someone asked you. You said it was next Saturday, right?
Yeah, August 15th.
Oh, sorry, and just someone had mentioned. This will be the last. Do you see that?
Chilean. I've not.
Eucalyptus terps.
Hmm.
Well, it'd be interesting. Unless it's hemp, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a rude awakening.
Yeah.
I mean,
Surprise.
it could be.
Surprise.
'Cause we get some eucalyptus profiles in our high CBD. That's like almost hemp.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Well, appreciate
That's
you guys.
terpenoline.
Yeah.
Good to see you
And,
guys.
What's
we'll
up,
we'll
guys?
do it
Thank you.
again next week. So if you guys
Yeah.
are around, see if Dwight can jump on, or I was actually gonna reach out to AK Dave, see
Yeah.
if he can jump on.
Yeah.
I'm growing 3 of his lines this year.
Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah. It'll be a good time.
I'll tell him a bunch of people growing his stuff.
Yeah.
Want to
Yeah, that'd be
pepper him
stoked.
with questions. All right. Everyone have a good one.
You too.
I'll talk
Much
to you
love.
guys soon.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you.
Bye.